Good morning, everybody. Glad to be here. I wanted to talk to you, as Teresa said, I currently chair the Interagency Council of Small Business Directors, so work with all of the federal agencies. We meet monthly to talk about how we can help you, the small businesses, target specific agencies. So before I start, I want to ask the question because I did arrive a little bit late, and I apologize for that. Like she said, I had a long way to come, and my office is upstairs, so I do apologize. I had another meeting that I had to finish. But how many of you are currently doing business with the federal government, if I could see a show of hands? Nobody. Okay, wow, that's interesting. Okay, how many of you would like to do business with the federal government? Okay, very good, all right, so well, you're in the right place. As Teresa said, we are, the small business directors are really your advocates within the agencies. What we do on a daily basis is to try to find opportunities for you small businesses. And what we do is to make it very simple. What we are is I consider myself sort of a middleman. I try to find the small businesses that are a good fit for our agency, and then try to fight for those opportunities with our contracts people and with the technical people who actually are doing the work, who are designing the requirements and actually writing up the contracts. So what's important is for you to learn sort of the basics. If none of you are doing business with the federal government, there are some basic things that you should do, and I will talk about those in the few minutes that I have. Just to let you know some facts, the U.S. government is really the world's largest buyer of goods and services. This government spends almost $1 trillion a year. So, and of course in this difficult budget times, that's going to probably be cut a little bit. We all are expecting that, but nonetheless, it's still going to be a significant amount. So if you're in business, I would urge you to look at the federal government as a target market. The agencies all set annual goals for small business. There's certain categories, which I don't know how familiar you are with it, but there's an overall small business category, then there are small disadvantaged business, which are essentially minority-owned businesses, then there are women-owned small businesses, service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses, and hub zone, historically underutilized business zone small businesses. All of the agencies set annual goals for doing business with these firms. So we all are trying to find those firms out there that are a good fit for us. I am the Small Business Director at the U.S. Agency for International Development, which is headquartered in this building. And what we do is international development. We do technical assistance work around the world. We're probably most known for our humanitarian assistance work when there's a natural disaster overseas. We are the first responders, essentially, and we assist people around the world. Right now, what we're working on, we were just in a meeting this morning about the Horn of Africa. You probably have all heard of there's a big famine over there, so we have a big presence over there. That's what we're primarily known for, but we also do work in food security, which we're trying to feed people around the world, and not only just feed them, but also teach them how to grow crops efficiently, so we have a strong technical agriculture program. We also do a lot of work in health. We're the ones that are leading the AIDS relief work, primarily in Africa, but also in other parts of the world, AIDS and malaria and TB programs. And we also do work in democracy and governance, and in a couple of other technical areas. But I don't want to take my time to talk to you about USAID specifically. I want to talk to you about what you can do is if you're just starting out to do business with the federal government. There's a couple of basic things that I think you should do. One is to register on the Central Contractor Registration, the ccr.gov website. That is a database that's administered by the Department of Defense, but every agency uses it. So if you want to do business with the government, you have to be registered there. Again, ccr.gov. Now, you don't have to register there, but if you do have to register if you want to get paid by the government. So that's an important point. So certainly register on that. I know Anna has probably talked about SBA programs a little bit. Okay, the SBA is a great resource for information on sba.gov. They have an unbelievable amount of information in there about starting up a business, about how to write a business plan, some of the basic things you need to get started with the federal government. We, as small business directors, work very closely with the SBA. We meet with them almost weekly, I would say, to talk about how we as agencies can provide additional opportunities for small businesses. The other thing I would say is there are this other group called the Procurement Technical Assistance Centers, PTACs, we know them as. And let me give you the website address for that is PTAC. There's a good one in Maryland and a good one in Virginia. And they are funded by the Department of Defense, but they're very good also in terms of learning some of the basic contracting basics, how to write a proposal. They have very, very inexpensive classes in sort of the basics of government contracting. I'll give you the address for the Virginia one, which is particularly good, www.vaptap.gov. Excuse me, .org. Can't read my own writing. vaptap.org. The gentleman that runs that particular PTAP is Jim Regan. I've known him for a number of years, and he takes his organization very seriously. And again, I would urge you to get in touch with them and see how they can help you. There's also Women's Business Center, which I'm sure you talked about. Okay, very good. But I think the most important website that you can write down is the osdbu.gov website, because that gives you a link to every single agency's small business office. Okay, if you go in there, you'll learn some of the basics about what the OSDBU offices do, and then it gives you a link. You can link to my particular office as well as my colleagues at 25 to 30 other agencies. So I would urge you to go in there and determine what agency would be a good fit for you, depending on what type of capabilities that you have, and then target those agencies. The small business websites will usually, most of them should have a business forecast, which is a listing of upcoming contract opportunities. So therefore you can target certain agencies that are in your area of expertise, and then contact those OSDBU offices. We're there to help you, to open doors for you, and I mean, the resources out there, so please take advantage of it. The last thing that I'm going to say, because I would like to hear your questions, is if you haven't done business before, certainly consider coming in as a subcontractor initially. Most of the agencies, for instance my agency, we do a lot of work with large businesses. All of those large businesses have to subcontract out a certain percentage of their contracts to small businesses in all the various categories that I mentioned before. So that's a good way to get in to a lot of agencies that have large contracts. I can tell you that the small businesses that have been successful with USAID, almost all of them started out initially as subcontractors to our large primes.